Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of How to Win at Chess, a series where I play against my Twitch subscribers and I go up the rating ladder. I play 10-minute games and I walk you through all the stages of the game, the opening, the middle game, and the end game. I had an interesting day today. I got my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine against COVID, and then I came home, I took a nap, so I'm a little bit out of it. I'm recording this at 11 o'clock at night, so hopefully, even though I can't really move my arm, we can at least move our brain a little bit. It's going to be a tough episode. We are playing first against an 1100 and we are ending the day with an 1800. It's one of the more intense, I think, How to Win at Chess episodes that we've ever had. And I'm going to start with d4. So obviously I always like to mix up, the opening and of every single game. We have d4, d5, and I usually play a bishop f4 London system. It's kind of tradition for this series. But today I'm going to play the Queen's Gambit. Now I'm going to see what my opponent is playing. He plays c6. Caro-Kann players will like this. This looks like a Caro-Kann, but c6, d5 against d4, c4 is known as the Slav defense. I have a lot of ways to play this. I'm just going to put two knights into the center of the board. The good thing about this defense for black is that it's very solid. The drawback of this defense is that black doesn't have a lot of active development. Oh, and I should tell you all once again that we are recording offline. So you guys have really enjoyed this, so I'm going to keep on doing it. So bishop to g4 in the Slav is not bad. Black wants to play e6 with, while getting the bishop out. First of all, I can move the knight to the center and hit the bishop. But second of all, the major issue in this opening is the fact that if you move the bishop away so early, I can take on d5 and then play queen to b3. I want to show you all how to take advantage of slight inaccuracies. Now, if you're just 1100 in this position, you might just think, well, let me just develop my pieces and be solid. But I also want to show you all how to punish positions, right? And so in the Queen's Gambit, if the light-squared bishop for black moves out of the way, a lot of times this queen can come to b3 and attack the b7 pawn. And there's certain benefits to this because if black pushes the pawn up one square, then the pawns are on dark squares now. And so the light squared complex is very weak. And there's a lot of tactics. Like, for example, this bishop can come to b5, not teleporting through the pawn, but moving the pawn up and then bishop to b5. Knight to e5 attacks the bishop, but then serves an entire other purpose of attacking on the light squares. And queen to b6 looking for a queen trade. Right, so queen to b6, we would have played knight takes d5. Would have been the idea. And then if the queen took us, we would have taken with check. And then we would have taken back. So I'm first thing I'm thinking about is this. Obviously, check is just bad. They'll block or something. Knight e5 is definitely the first thing that I'm thinking about because it just attacks the bishop. And if I slow play the position, like setting this up, I block in my bishop, and I'm not so sure bishop b5 is just going to win me the game. So I like this. I'm going to do this. Now this knight has trouble developing. It's essentially what we're doing from here on out. Because black played in inaccuracies, we're getting something called an initiative, which is a long-lasting kind of combination of moves that creates threats and forces your opponent to react, like pawn takes pawn, and then queen here, and now knight here is all forcing black to react, because the threat is to, take the bishop and then take, right? And black has already blundered. By going here, black has lost the sight of this pawn, so knight takes d5 now wins a pawn, but I gotta look around, is there anything better? But the thing about an initiative is that even though you're creating a lot of threats back to back to back, you're not weakening your position, you're not overextending. So knight takes d5 now is just a free pawn because the bishop is no longer guarding it. Now, if knight takes, black is just lost because I take, and by playing that early b6 move, oh no, two threats now, and the game is over. I mean, black is just blown off the board here because of those weak light squares that they created. So queen b3, now we see this kind of idea in the Queen's Gambit to punish the light squares. That's like everything that we said. And, if you're watching this and you're rated 8, 900, and you're like, I don't know how to do this in my own games. This never happens in my own games. 1100s don't play like this against me. The thing is, you have the opportunities. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Oh, no. Those things exist in your games. Like, you can win like this against the 1100s. Granted, yes, anybody who plays me in this series does come with more nerves because they're like, oh my god, I'm going to end up on YouTube. I want to look good. And it's not that it's tainted played a bad game. It's just that, the truth is that just at a certain level, it's not just moving pieces out and then in an abstract way, like I'm developing and therefore it's good. The Slav defense is played in two ways. You can play it closed with e6, that's the semi-Slav, or g6 or a6 trying to go b5. Or you can take this pawn immediately, d takes c4. The drawback of moving the bishop is that it's a theoretically slightly less accurate move. And if you know your stuff with white, you know the little kind of strategies of the position, and you know the right way to play it and the wrong way to play it, you'll know that like this is a possibility. And I'm very curious after bishop g4 if cd5 and queen b3 is correct. And yeah, I mean machine likes this cd5, and after cd5 it actually thinks that black should take my knight. So actually the computer thinks that I should have gone here first. It finds something slightly more accurate than what I did, because then it likes this, and queen b3, and white is actually already plus 2.8. So it's crazy that white is like completely winning on move 7, and all black did was move a bishop out. So the way you remember this kind of stuff is like, if you're a Queen's Gambit player and you play whatever, Queen's Gambit declined, well, Queen's Gambit declined, you won't move your bishop out, right? So if you play the Slav, don't move your bishop out so quickly. You have to play a little bit more solid, because queen b3 and knight c3 will put too much pressure on your queen side. And, what would it have been better for my opponent to do here? Probably lose this pawn. So knight takes, if takes, takes. And if, if knight takes and queen takes b3, I would have had to take on f6 before I took back. Otherwise, I would have lost my knight. But, beyond that, my opponent got scared of my forward knight move. And again, this breaks the rule of not moving a piece 2 times in the opening, right? But for good reason, because we try to get the bishop and try to get the bishop pair and weaken our opponent's position. And that's the magic of that's the magic of going up the rating ladder, is that you start learning these intricacies of like all these different openings. My opponent says I embarrass them. I'm trying to give them a pick-me-up. E4, I'm gonna go D5. I'm gonna play my gambit repertoire. I'm saying, now you know not to move light squared bishop in those structures. Learn. Don't be embarrassed. Okay. So E4, D5 is the Scandinavian defense if I take back with the queen, but I'm going to, I'm going to play knight F6. This is the, an invitation for my opponent to allow a gambit. And this is in my gambits course. The link is in the description. But a lot of people do play like this, and then you're not going to be able to play a gambit. Essentially, for example, if c4, you can play Icelandic gambit. If d4, you can play bishop g4. That's the Portuguese gambit. But in this case, there are no gambits. Knight c3 is a very solid move. I think last episode, someone did this against me. And the thing is, when you don't need to take in the opening. A lot of people see this, snap take, don't even think about it. Not realizing that if I take you, you just take back, I've lost a piece in the center. Like, my opponent shouldn't do this, because now, think about it, y'all. Think about it. I'm playing with white now. I have more development. That's not supposed to happen. It's move 4. I'm not supposed to be the guy with more pieces out. And normally, Scandinavian is there's a knight that's coming out to hit the queen, but we don't have that anymore. So now, for every move beyond this point, I'm going to quickly go for a long castle, and I'm going to have the lead in development. And then we are going to translate that lead in development into an attack. So yeah, this is very common. Knight c6, or pinning. Most people will block the pin here. If they don't block the pin, you can actually just take and damage the structure. And yes, you are going to have bishop knight for 2 bishops, but they will have a bad pawn structure. So give and take. Knight to c6. Now we're not taking. Now we are not taking. Yeah, that last subscriber felt bad about that game. It happens, y'all. Yeah, like, that's the thing. You're gonna play thousands of games of chess in your life. Sometimes you're gonna lose like a buffoon. I have games I'm laying in bed, I'm playing, on my phone, and I try something new in the opening, I'm dead lost in 10 moves. Am I embarrassed? No. If a chef cooks a bad meal experimenting, then are they embarrassed? I don't know. I can't speak for chefs. I suppose I should stick to my domain. I don't know. Maybe chefs are terribly embarrassed if they cook a bad meal. I have no idea. Yeah, maybe I just broke like a massive code, Now, fighting is very different because, professional fighters fight once every 5 months, 6 months. In the case of Conor McGregor or some of these guys who make all this money, twice in 3 years or something. But, or Kevin Holland who fights, 5 times in a year. But, if you have a very bad performance, it can be very embarrassing because it's on the world stage and you don't have time to, get back in there. But Kevin Holland is doing that right now. D3. Okay, so a couple of ways to play this. Because we've castled on opposite sides, I am aware of a game plan in this position. Man, I'm getting distracted all over the place. Today, I apologize. I didn't want to keep somebody waiting. That was a time-sensitive response. Don't use, you can message people when you are playing games, but don't use your phone for other things. Now, I am aware, what I was going to say, that in opposite side castling positions, one of the game plans is to attack the opponent. I want to go e5, for example, but I actually like e6 and bishop d6. Now, I also just like belligerently just showing my intentions. I want to go in pawn storm. But the thing is, I would much rather this pawn did not exist. No disrespect to this pawn. But I want my rook to see that. Right? Like, it's this weird thing where I want to get rid of the pawn, but it's really hard to do that because white doesn't have to take it if I push it. So then I'm going to need to push more pawns. But for now, I'm just showing my intentions. That's all I'm trying to do. And we'll see what my opponent is going to come up with. Because the truth is, okay, h3, right? Now, in this position, there's a concept. Now, normally you see that your bishop is hanging, but I'm glad, we're early into the episode, so nobody's clicked out yet, right? You haven't clicked if you don't even think about it. So now you can learn something here. This is something called the fish hook or the fishing pole. Essentially, there's a concept in chess where you can leave a bishop hanging like this, especially if it will mean that the opponent taking it will open your rook to their king. They need to be castled in that direction. You need to have material ready to go in that direction. So if my opponent takes, I now have a laser beaming rook. This pawn has transferred, which means my queen can go there, and together they will just deliver a fatal blow. Like, there's nothing. Now, furthermore, I've got moves like bishop to d6. Now, that's a great move, not taking the bait. Probably I need to move my queen here, I would imagine, because if I go all the way back, then this loses a lot of its power. Although, no, I like queen f5. I was going to say, my queen still sees that square, but you don't want to play for tricks. The idea really here is that this bishop is just very good. I mean, I'm not playing for, garbage tricks. That bishop is very annoying because it cannot be taken. And in being immortal, it exerts tremendous pressure on this side of the board. Next for me is maybe adding another pawn or a bishop to d6. And then, again, I would love it if I could put my rooks here, and there's no G and H pawns, yeah? And that's it, And then we just kind of bulldoze. All right. And now we wait. Okay, this is a little bit... Oh, I get it. That's not a waiting move. Like, they want to play b4. They want to play b4. Okay, well, bishop to d6 is my idea. Now, sacrificing is really a fascinating one, I get this question a lot, like, when do I know when to sacrifice? And listen, I get it. It's not so easy to know. There's no clear guidelines. This is the way you got to think about it. How many pieces can go and help, right? If my queen gets over here, I need at least one more piece. I don't have the time. I need to go bishop d6 at least. And that's not even mate, because the knight covers. They can move the rook and add a bishop to defend. They can maybe move the knight somewhere and then bring the bishop in this way. Maybe they bring the bishop to f4, and now the bishop will defend. So if you don't have backup, quick, don't sack. If you don't see a check that does anything, don't sack. If I go take, and then I come, all I have is one check. So for now, I think I'm going to leave it, and I think I'm going to play bishop d6. At the same time, I really like this g5 idea, but I think I will just go here because it feels correct. It feels right to just bring a bishop to the party. Now I have a new piece, and now maybe I will sacrifice. By the way, I have to tell you, maybe now I do sacrifice because I'm already guaranteed at least one piece. And at that point, when I sacrifice, because my bishop is already there, who do I have to remove? Just the knight, because the knight is the only thing stopping mate. I can do that by deflecting the knight with my knight, and then we just win. So this move takes away the h2 square, and it takes away the bishop coming to f4. And that is how you have to gauge whether or not you sacrifice in a game of chess. And now I think b4 is too slow, and I think we take, but I just want to be sure. Now, this is not the only thing you calculate. Of course, you have to take a look at stuff, some other stuff. Namely, can they attack me? They can. They can play moves like c5 or b5 or knight to h4. It's very, very, it's a skill, developing the skill of forecasting threats for your opponent. Like, how can they attack me? I'm not the only one on the board that wants to win the game. You know, if c5, I don't think I'm too scared. I mean, first of all, I can keep sacking. Sack one of these two guys. I actually think c5 is a very, like, reasonable move. And I think at that point, I'm going to do something called danger levels. And I think I'm just going to threaten mate, utilizing my sacrifice. And then maybe they'll move their knight to guard mate and attack my queen. And then maybe I'll, like, move my queen and attack the rook. Like, it's going to be chaotic. But I think c5 is a good move because it kicks away my bishop, my dark squared bishop. Strikes me as a intelligent decision. You know, I think c5, but c5 is so hard to play here. Like, I'll be blown away if my opponent plays this move. Just doesn't get scared of what's going on near their king, realizes that really the big problem is the queen's helper. It's the queen's backup. And then I have no forward moves. If I go here, knight takes. If I go here, I mean, do I really want to trade a piece? Not if I'm sacking, then I'm just lost. I mean, it's a game, you know. I know it's lost, but at the 1200 level, maybe it's not so easily lost. Now, knight to g5, okay. I obviously can't take this. But that's attacking that. So I either need to move that or create a stronger threat. Now, again, they've abandoned this completely. So first of all, you know, can I go here? I don't have a follow-up check after that. Queen e5 is a battery, and it threatens that. It's actually a very similar thing to what we saw last game. Queen e5, f4, queen takes rook. Looks good, right? But let's just think about it for a second. I mean, I can also just back up. Like, the truth is I can wait. I don't have to rush. Now, this is a bit risky, you know, queen e5. But it looks like I'm getting at least a free rook for that move. And then my opponent has to decide whether to take a bishop or take this pawn and fork my rooks. But it's all slow, because I'm going to get a full rook. Like, just a rook. No questions asked. Because it's a fork. And it's funny because we just saw this kind of pattern in the last game. The queen and the bishop line up. I think the only move is f4. Because if you play g3 to block my mate, well, then I can take both rooks. And that's even worse. So now you can kind of, you know, the thing about the Win at Chess series is I want to teach you all how to think and anticipate what your opponents want, what you want, different types of positions. But there's a lot of openings at play, like this Scandinavian, this gambit. You know, if you buy my course, you'll obviously know it in more detail. If you don't get the course, you'll at least have, as Rookie 1 is actually just a checkmate blunder, my opponent missed both of my threats. Wow. That's definitely nervous, because I think a 1200 in a regular game will see that. I think my opponent just got a little bit nervous. Now king f1, bishop g2, queen g2, or queen h1 is mate. But essentially what I wanted to say is, like, you know, the Scandinavian, the way we played it here with the long castle, y'all gotta start castling longer more. Because people be castling short because they don't watch my content. And, you know, the long castle, the opposite side castling is crazy. It leads to some really imbalanced and dynamic positions. As far as this game goes, my opponent had an inaccuracy, so they took my knight, all right? Like, and the craziest thing is, like, black is already doing better after knight f3. Like, the computer evaluation is, like, almost on black's side. And after d3, it definitely is on black side. You know, now, for me, probably the best move is to just take the full center, but I got hostile. And if you play the move h5 in a game, you know, this kind of fishing pole idea, and then this whole just understanding of, you know, sacrificing, when to sacrifice. And looking at the computer, well, this is where the computer just tells you you're an idiot. It turns out that I had this queen e5 idea a move prior. I was so tunnel visioned on sacrificing, and yes, c5 is the best move here. I was so tunnel visioned on sacrificing, it turns out that I can take and play queen e5 now, which is hilarious. So that's actually a lesson even in victory, which not everybody likes to do. We like to celebrate our wins and only analyze our losses. I had this move a move prior, but because my whole plan that I verbalized was bishop d6, bishop sacrifice, I sacrificed, and I didn't play queen e5, which is really funny. It didn't even occur to me at all to take on f3 and play queen e5 originally, because I was so fixated on this sacrifice. Well, there y'all go. But yeah, that's the beauty of this series. We play and we learn and we get better. All right. So last game I played the move d4. this game I will play e4, and I will see what my opponent does. Again, I'm going to try to play some of my lines. Oh, but this one's tough. If I play my Caro prep, this might be really bad. But you know what? Let's do it. Poor Nimblet might run into my Caro-Kann defense preparation. And now, advanced variation for the win. This is the best variation to play against Caro-Kann. Okay, opponent plays the second main line, c5. The idea being that you're trying to make me take and, kind of damage my center. But what's funny is that is White's most critical response, because you're basically calling Black's bluff, and you're saying, hey, I don't know what you're doing here, but you're down a pawn. Now, my course is f4 to defend this, but I'm going to pretend like, I'm just a random person. Random 1370, random 1400, and I'm just playing bishop b5, because I know they want to take, so I'm pitting them. And just if anyone's confused, queen a5 check does not win a piece here, because I can just play knight c3. And if d4, that's actually not guarded because of this pin. A little bit complicated looking. So, bishop d7 solves the issue of the pin, but I'm pretty sure it hangs another pawn. Unless I'm absolutely insane. Now, the only concern there is the fact that my queen's a bit close, yeah? And maybe I don't like being so close, and then, the bishop is going to come out. So, I'm trying to think. Maybe what I do is I just try to defend my center, but do I call the bluff? Do I punish the early mistake? Fascinating stuff. Viewers, I don't know. I guess we should call the bluff, right? So let's play queen takes d5. Now e6. And see, here's the problem. I can't guard both my pawns. The only way to do that is to play queen to d4, which is just bad. This game is an example of why you should learn your openings. Like, f4 is the line I would play here. This is how my course with the white pieces goes. My e4 course. But this is the thing. I don't know the bishop b5 line, so I'm already worried about the tricks, even though I'm an international master. Like, think about it. If I'm stressed in the opening, what are you guys thinking about? When, I guess I'll go queen e4. I think guarding this pawn is more important than guarding this pawn. I think losing this is fine, whereas losing my center pawn could be very bad. But here's the thing, I don't know this opening at all. I don't know where we are. It just looks a little bit scary for my queen to get attacked. Black is up, down a pawn, but, has more development than me. Bishop and knight is out and whatever. So I'm figuring things out. I'm stressed about my 1300 rated opponent. I mean, I cannot imagine what some of y'all are going through when you get stressed in the opening. Anyway, developing a piece. Still don't know which way I'm going to castle. I could continue the trend of just castling long every game and showing you all the power of it. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, now obviously you do not take here. Oh my god, I hate when y'all be doing this, just taking for no reason. Oh, fair trade. So nah, because that's not a fair trade, you goons. No, it's not. All right. I can go back this way or just go all the way back, but I think I should go here. I mean, b5, I'm not super worried about. Just drop back. I don't know, queen b6, for example. Attacking here. Actually, if my opponent does that, I might have to play this very ugly knight move, because I don't actually see a way to guard this. I guess I can move my queen again, but I would rather develop a piece to an ugly square and defend my position than move my queen again in trying to defend my position, if that makes sense. You've got to make the ugly developing move if it kind of does the job. Okay, maybe bishop trade. Maybe that bishop is very strong. But also maybe just developing a piece, yeah? Like, just no questions asked, move the knight to the center. Because here's the thing, y'all, we're up a pawn, so if we both get all our pieces developed, I'm just up a pawn. The only advantage my opponent had 3 moves ago is the fact that they were up in development. But they played a couple of passive moves, although they are developing their pieces. And now it no longer matters that we were down in a little bit of development early on. So I want to go knight g5. Yeah, now I kind of regret not moving my bishop back here, by the way. I want to go knight g5, but they're not going to hang mate. They're going to move the knight somewhere here, which makes me think, what if I develop a piece? Like a bishop, or... let me be a good role model and let me just castle, because again, I'm so, I promised y'all long castle, but I don't think it's practical. I'm going to have to spend time moving my bishop, and in that moment that I move and don't castle, there could be ways my opponent just attacks me somehow. Now the game plan is interesting because we're up a pawn. When you're up a pawn, you need to identify where in the position you're up a pawn. This is my extra pawn. So, you know, it's not really felt. So still, we're going to have to use kind of the mental checklist. Okay, what does knight g6 do? Targets this pawn, but it's not hanging, and it opens the queen, yeah? Okay, my turn to think. Checks, captures, attacks. Nothing in particular. I can take a lot of stuff. It's all terrible. I can attack the queen, protected by my knight. That doesn't look like a terrible move. I can play bishop to e3, creating a trade of bishops. Is that good for me? Does it damage my position? No. Is it good for me? Well, I'm up a pawn. That's a very active piece. I haven't moved my bishop yet. Let's do it. They can't attack me in any way. Okay, decides to take instantly. Now I'll just drop back. So what have we done? We traded bishops. We traded a very powerful bishop for a bishop that hasn't moved yet. Now, again, the d7 bishop is black's problem. The other thing is we move the... What is this? Mr. 1300, come on! No! What? What? I'm actually a little bit disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been disappointed in the last two guys, but this guy's damn near 1400. He's blundering a knight blunder like that. Ay. No, that's no good. I was just getting in the groove of explaining the complexity of this middle game and white having a space, and the guy just goes and hangs a horse. But I do suppose that does happen. Ay. My opponent says I mouse slipped. What did they, what? They just wrote a message in Discord. Said, how was that a mouse slip? What? What could they have possibly intended if not to take? I mean, it's okay to admit if you blundered. I don't know. That was strange. But we'll analyze afterward, just hypothetically, the thought process. Now that we are up a knight and a pawn, are we up? No, we're not up a pawn. We're just up a knight. Next phase of the game is to, you know, either take it to an endgame, trade queens, trade rooks, win the endgame, bishop, knight versus bishop, which is completely winning, or go up and here and just go for mate. Now, I don't really believe in that one right now. I just don't. I mean, I think black will just play like f6, for example. So maybe we go the queen trade route, and actually here a queen trade is forced. It's forced because if he doesn't trade queens with me, I'm going to take the bishop. So if you move your queen, I'm going to take the bishop. You move the bishop, I'm going to take your queen anyway. So that is, you know, there are two ways, right? And if we get the queens off the board, then we're happy because the queen is a very powerful piece for black. And well, what to say? That's an interesting move. Essentially saying you can take my bishop or I'll take your knight. Well, I'll make that trade. Now I'll trade bishop for knight and queens. Now I'm very happy. Now we're in a rook endgame and I'm up a bishop. Now here, I would just take the queen. And bc3. And, well, again, just like a few moves ago, I was saying, you know, you got to play to your strengths. We are stronger on the queen side. We have 3 versus 1. And if rooks come off, we will just have more pawns there. So activate the rook, target weakness. Right? Target that weakness, which can't move. Always make a luft for your king. Oh my god, just like my opponent just did. Do not get bank rank mated. Do not get back rank mated. You have to think in the mind of your opponent. I mean, they're thinking, what is the only way I survive this position? So just do yourself a favor. Don't get back rank mated. Maybe even get your king off the back rank. Now the king is safe among the pawns. And probably we will double up. We will double stack and go to d7. That's the game plan. So h4. You say, why did I play this? Just to freeze the pawns. Endgames are about, you know, thinking about the way your opponent wants to play. So we immediately get to the 7th rank, which is very important in endgames. That pressures the f7 pawn. If king to g7, it's pinned. That's the beauty. You have 3 pieces, right? You are completely responsible for finding tactics in endgames. Checks, captures, attacks. That's not a good move, but this is because this pawn is pinned to the king. And now bishop takes. And if the rook goes here, I will do you all a favor and simplify this down into a pawn endgame, showing you that you need to be confident in your transition abilities like this. Taking games to completely winning endgames, where you have now 3 versus 6, you have 3 on 2 on this side, you have 2 passed pawns, so you can literally just push pawns because you are on 2 sides of the board, right? King g3, okay, now we have a 2-on-1 and a passed pawn on this side, so We push, we could have also taken, and black resigns. Because again, if black just hangs out in the middle, we will push. If black gets too close, they leave what is known as the endgame square, right? This is the, you count how many squares you are away from promotion, and then bang, 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 bang. Like this. So you cannot come here, because now we will just push this pawn. So, that was obviously a little bit frustrating. I was a bit disappointed that blunder happened. If it hadn't happened, right? And like, for example, the opponent played this move, just hypothetically. 1, 2, 3. We would go rook e1, right? Let's say the opponent plays just rook c8. So the way you approach a position like this, where you are very clearly better and up a pawn, like this is a game that, how to describe? This is a game that, like, how many people would win with white if they were 1300 and up a pawn? Probably 60%, 65. You said that's crazy, like, but whereas like a grandmaster would win this game 99 times out of 100 with white, which is interesting, right? Because white is so much better here, like almost completely winning. Because black just really has nothing. Very passive bishop. This knight targeting nothing. I mean, h4, h5 is one plan here. In fact, h4 is the top computer move. And the idea of h4 is realizing that my queen and my knight are very close to the king. And this knight is super awkward. In general, knights on g6 and b6 can be attacked with flank pawn pushes like this. And for example, h5 is just a horrible weakness. Like, you can immediately go punish that mistake. Now you are up 2 pawns, right? Then you will come back to this square and advance your h-pawn again. And if the opponent gets scared, right? And let's just say they run away because they don't want to see you coming. But now you're going to bring your second rook. You will slowly improve your position while thinking about this thought process. Do I have any checks? Do I have any captures? Do I have any attacking moves, right? While also thinking for your opponent. Can they attack me? Okay, sure, but, I can play knight e4 and maybe get into d6. But knight e4 is a very tough move to play because on the surface, it looks like it loses a pawn. For example, they might take. And now you have to find takes, and the only move, basically, that gives white any advantage here, which is knight into d6. Defended by your rook, disconnecting the queen from the knight, and winning the rook, attacking the rook on c8. So now 2 threats. You've disconnected the circulation here, and this. So now you're guaranteed to win material. Even a move like this, just this. And now still those 2 threats exist. So you say, well, what do I learn from that, Levy? You're just making moves on a board. Y'all have these things in your games, but chess is hard. Like, you have to find this idea. And if you don't find it, and instead you move like back here and you lose this pawn, did you ever really have the advantage? Right? It's like one of these things. Like, you have the advantage if and only if you play on this one set of lines, which is why at 1300 with white in this position would win maybe 60% of the time. Because it's difficult to identify the correct plan or the best move all the time. But if you try to apply this checklist in your games, it will be to your benefit. Now, from this, oh my gosh, my next person isn't online. Get in live chess, please. Okay, well, YouTube, dear viewers, now we sit here and await while my opponent has not shown up in live chess. There it is. So we're going to try to apply this checklist, yeah? Have I played this person before? Never. Never played this person before. Strong player. All right, we played e4, d5 a couple games ago. Let's go e4, e5. So we're going to play our gambit repertoire, potentially. But we'll see. Maybe this guy's going to play Vienna against us. Oh, Vienna. Now I have to show how to beat the Vienna system. Bishop c5 is a tricky move against the Vienna. It's very unpopular, let's put it this way. It's not a popular move at all. But white can play against it in the same way as usual with d3 and f4. But white can also just play d3, like bishop g5, for example. The thing is, not a lot of people develop the bishop first. A lot of people develop the knights, which is significantly more common. Right, d3. And see, now the difference for black is I haven't played knight c6, which allows me to play this move. Very common thing to do. Oh, something's in my eye. Very common thing to do against the bishop. And try to play d5. Now, white can prevent this. I'm not, like, refuting my own, course. But white needs to remember to, like, for example, pin my knight so I cannot play d5. But a lot of people forget. They just panic. A lot of people, if you take them out of their comfort zone, they just totally melt. Right? But, Knight f3 allows d5, no? It allows me to play this move. Oh my gosh, guys, there is just something in my eye. I think I got it out. Okay, wow. That would have been my new opponent. d5, so take, and I guess what, bishop b5 check is coming? I don't know. I don't know. Very tactical game already, like the bishop is targeted. Would have been better probably for my opponent to play bishop g5, but you know, that's the beautiful thing about levels to the game of chess. All right, bishop b5, okay. I cannot reveal all my secrets. Knight to c6. Now, on the surface, if you're looking at this going, wait a second, Gotham, can't your opponent just take on e5? Because you are pinned? Yes. Have I made a mistake? We'll find out. I actually have no idea. Maybe I did make a mistake. But my logic was to castle and essentially bait my opponent into taking a few extra pawns than necessary. That was my idea. Sacrifice a pawn or two, right? I'm going to castle here. That's a kind of a soft spot. I'm going to castle. Now the knight is hanging. And if my opponent continues wandering into my territory, then what's going to happen is they're going to win pawns, but they're going to trade all their pieces in the process. And then they're going to be 2 pawns up, but I have no pieces out. And that is when I will say, oh? Oh? Were you trying to attack me? Now they have to take. So now there are 2 pawns up. Now we pause. So first things first, our rook is hanging. Now, you know, to the untrained eye, you just make a rook move. But to the trained eye, you start looking at things like bishop takes f2, check. King takes f2, queen to b6, check. And then you win back the bishop. You also start looking at bishop to g4, which attacks the queen. You also start looking at queen b6 and just giving away the rook and just sacrificing and going all in. That one I like the least. That one looks a bit too extravagant. You also start looking at d4. It's a very fluid position. Wow. Rook b8 is the last thing that I want to play because it allows my opponent to get settled. And I don't want that. Now, in 8 minutes' time, is it possible you work out everything perfectly? Probably not. You might get lucky and do it, but probably not. I can't even work this out perfectly. So bishop takes f2, king f2, queen b6. And by the way, they don't even have to take. Theoretically, they could just move their king. But let's just say bishop f2, king f2. I also have knight g4 to attack the king, which is defended by my bishop. Kind of like that. I do kind of like moving my knight there and then playing queen to b6. And, you know, the good thing I think is that at least I win back the bishop in this line with bishop takes f2. I think this is the best move. But, of course, Machine will just look at this position and go, Gotham, you're so stupid. Of course, bishop g4. And then, you know, if queen d2, like rook e8, sacrificing the rook. I don't know. But I do like this. And that's why it's so important to look for checks. Because even though your rook is hanging, as you improve in chess, it's not all as it appears. Just because your rook is hanging doesn't mean you need to address the threat. Now, if you're like 700, more often than not, if your rook is hanging, you should probably move your rook. You're going to lose your rook if you don't move it. But intermediate players, and this entire episode is, for the most part, playing against folks who are very strong intermediate players, and we will be ending with an 1800. We have 17 and 1800 coming up. I'm going to have to focus, man. It's midnight. I'm locked in, recording this content for y'all. So if you made it 38 minutes into the video, I know. Look, I read the comments. Y'all be like, stop saying that. I always watch every minute because I appreciate the grind. I appreciate you. If you're reading this right now, I can't respond to every single YouTube comment that I get, but let me just tell y'all this. We have by far the biggest engagement of any chess channel on YouTube. And that's no disrespect to my other creators, Hikaru, Agad, all the others. Like on any given video, we'll have 1,000 comments, which is nuts because I go around and I look and other videos have 200-300 comments. Like, you guys are great. And just know that, even though I don't respond to every single one, I do frequently just scroll through and have a laugh or see someone just absolutely tear me apart saying I'm just the worst human being. But you're not going to please everybody. So, the key is to convince the haters to, I tweeted about this earlier today, actually. So the key is to convince the haters to keep watching you. Because they will hate watch. That's the beauty. They will hate everything about you. And, good stuff. They still watch your stuff. So queen to b6. Oh, I was going to go knight g4. Oh, I feel so dumb. I guess it could. I guess I could go knight g4 now. Oh my god, I just rushed this. I like totally. Wow. I was. Oh my god, I feel so stupid. Okay, let me just take. I guess I could have played knight g4 there. Actually, maybe I should have played knight g4. Maybe I should have paused for a second because now my opponent can play h3. Aha. This is a very good plan by my opponent. Rook e1. I should have played knight g4. Damn it. Ay, ay, ay. Now they're going to get settled. Ah, I'm so stupid. That's a great move, and now they get to hide their king. Oh, man. All right, is there any way to punish my opponent anyway for the way they've played this? That's the difference, is that if I had played knight g4, I would have made the king move. Damn! Oh, I'm so frustrated. So frustrated. Could have easily spotted that and just paused for a second. Because now their king is going to get safe. And now it's a totally different game. Okay. Could still do it, but... yeah. So I'm thinking queen d6 to target the pawn. King to g1, knight to g4, they have to play g3. And the problem with that is that then they can put the bishop on f4. So here's what I'm going to do, yeah? I'm going to play rook b8. Now I will, because the pressure on this pawn disallows the bishop from moving. I am going to utilize the fact that I'm down a pawn. However, I have open lines against the, my opponent's development so that they can't move the bishop. Now, the opponent should probably play moves like bishop to g5, looking for trades, targeting my pawn here. King g1, h3, and queen f3. If they can accomplish those three moves, h3 kicks out anything from this square, queen is active and pressuring, and then they can, like, move the bishop and then move this and get the rook out. White is just better. Like, white is playing this for a win because my poopy head didn't play knight g4 because I was talking about YouTube engagement or whatever. Also, when you're down in a slightly worse position, clock matters. Clock matters. 6 versus 5 minutes. It's a 10-minute game. I mean, I understand I shouldn't be playing the clock, but if you're a 1600 playing a 1600, clock matters. Being up a minute is everything. Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So, got plenty of energy today. Damn, this is a good episode. Last one I recorded, it was in the morning, so I was like not energetic, but now I got lights, camera, action. Yo, let's put on that cinema lighting. I discovered that if watch. I discovered that if my top light isn't on, I look like, I mean maybe in the cinema or something. Kind of interesting. Although this kind of hurts my eyes, but that's okay because I wasn't used to it. All right. Well, my opponent hasn't moved in a minute. So now we are nearly up 2 minutes on the clock because, well, here's the thing. Why is my opponent thinking? Like, why are they thinking? Surely king g1. Oh, maybe, well, here's the thing. Maybe they didn't realize that king g1 was their best move. Maybe only I realized that king g1 was their best move, and I was upset for no reason. Queen d3, what does that do? Like, what is the idea of this move? They just want to activate a... What if I attack the queen? Well, the queen... I guess queen g3. Queen g3 might be the idea. So what if I check? Take, pawn takes, queen takes. Anything? Probably not. Probably not. And queen g3 is on the way, huh? Should have played that silly knight move. Now I need to make a move within the allotted time so that I don't also tank. Let's play bishop to a6. And on queen to g3, I'm going to play knight to e4 check. Trading the knights, creating a passed pawn on the e-file, like this, and they better, okay, first of all, this is also opened up, and by the way, I did not take that there, because knight would have dropped back, so now c2 is under attack. They might see this and get some tunnel vision, and straight up forget my queen is guarding that. But again, if my opponent gets king g1, c3, bishop e3, etc., they're going to be completely fine. Now, I want to avalanche my pawns. I think that's what I want to do before my opponent can just buckle down and guard everything. So I'm going to do that. They cannot go here because rook takes b2. So again, these open lines are actually kind of benefiting me. In opposite colored bishop positions, the attacking side is for choice because the other bishop cannot defend, right? And so my light squared bishop is actually incredibly powerful where it's standing. I would like to go f4. Like, if this king stays here... Oh, that... Oh. That must be winning. They never played king g1. The truth is they never... And now if bishop takes, I can actually just take, believe it or not. I can also just apply pressure, which looks good. But the best move is just take. That's why you always look for captures first. And then the new rook will pin. And if they don't take, e3 together, these two pawns, counteracting that bishop. Ay, that's bad. That's very bad. e3 is game over for white. Completely game over. We just... Essentially, we jumped on the opponent before they were able to consolidate. But the most important move of this game was king back to g1. And it's funny, because it's the first thing I thought of when I saw rook e1. And I'm sure post-game analysis will show that. But it's interesting that my opponent didn't even think about it. Thought for a long time, never actually played king g1. In that position, I wouldn't be shocked if the best move is king to g1. But that is what the analysis is for. Yeah, now we wait. The thing is, once f5, f4 happens, then... Yeah, see, now the other drawback is that the queen is disconnected from the defense of c3. So the reason I couldn't take it when my opponent was pushing these pawns is because the queen was guarding. But queen c3 hits both rooks. That might just be game over. These pawns killed the circulation that my opponent had. The only way to guard everything is to play bishop a3, which actually isn't even a bad move. It attacks my rook. Part of me wants to sacrifice the rook. They didn't do it. Part of me, okay, check. You know why? Oh. Wait, I'm sorry. Can we replay that one more time? Oh my god. I didn't even see that. Like, what? The guy sacked the bishop because they didn't want to lose a rook. And then found a fork. I didn't even see that was a fork. Well, there you go. Welcome to How to Win at Chess. Oh, wait, no, e2 is a terrible move. The queen. Okay. Let's not blunder again. We made a small inaccuracy. Let's take the pawn. We are still equal. And we are threatening to win the game, actually. We're threatening e2 discovered check, somehow sacking, and somehow playing rook here. So, definitely still very good position for us. e2 discovered check is just a loss of a big piece there. Don't blunder that. I'm gonna play queen c5, kind of maintaining this. Maybe we'll get rook c1. In fact, we probably will get rook c1. I hope. I mean, you just played rook d1. You might as well play rook c1. And then for me, I need to somehow bring this. I don't know about that. That looks really passive. Now the rook is guarding the pawn. That pawn will probably win me the game. And again, we're up 2.5 minutes. My opponent's time is ticking. 100 seconds. Time is ticking. It's moving. It's moving. Gotta go. But these pawns so close to you. They... Now, I just said chat. Viewers. Don't play rook f2 because queen takes, pawn takes, rook takes. Don't hang back rank mate, okay? Luft. Always luft. Because now you can take. Now, if you lose queen for 2 rooks, and you end up with queen pawn versus 2 rooks are gonna be okay here. They're not going to be. They're actually not going to be so bad. This is an endgame. I need to slowly but surely get this value out of this pawn. But person's playing very well. I'm gonna play rook e7, either lining up my defenses or going down the f file. I have a tactic. I have an interesting tactic in this position. Okay, so rook f2, right? Now is good because this sacrifice I can promote. So I'm gonna play rook f2. There's rook d8 check. Oh my gosh, there's rook d8 check. Oh my gosh. There's rook d8 check and like queen d3. Now I'm not losing, but I totally blanked on that move. Like, I'm very lucky I can't be punished here. I guess we'll trade queens, but wow. Wow. This guy should be very proud. I almost don't even deserve to win this game. This person just played a great game. I played a big blunder there, allowing queen e6. I didn't even see that move. That's crazy. I probably should have seen that move, to be honest, because I'm always saying you should look for checks for your opponent, but that's the beautiful thing about the game. We can learn and study, and then boom, we get hit with queen e6, and now we look like doofuses. But it's life. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, it's life. You work hard, but it's not always perfect. Okay, now oh no, I don't. I was gonna play rook g2 and queen f2, but I don't have that at all. But you know what we do have? We do have a massive time advantage. So let's go for... I just realized my opponent could have played rook takes pawn. Wow, what a bad game by me. Like, very bad. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, actually a terrible game. I'm not even, like, being, like, you know, overly complimentary to my opponent or anything. Like, I just straight up played terrible this game. Maybe e2? Just push the pawn? Don't blunder anything this late in the game. But it's, yeah, now they just bring the rook back. Part of me wants to give a draw out of respect. I think I will. I think we'll repeat moves. Oh, no, no, repeat moves. Repeat moves. I'll repeat. And then I'm going to tell them in Discord. I'm going to tell you played great. I'm going to say I didn't even see queen e6. That was awesome. That was a great game. This person should be very happy. That was awesome. Queen e6 was an excellent move. And I had advantage after for maybe 1 or 2 moves, but I misplayed it. Yeah, like at this point, like we don't need to look at this actually. The most important moment of the games were earlier. So yeah, bishop f2 was a good move. This whole plan. Was knight g4 a bad move? Okay, I was so worried about knight g4. Nice. Rook b8. Yeah, so here, king g1. Yeah, king g1's the best move. Yeah, according to computer, yeah, king g1. What is king f1, computer? Shut up. You don't know anything about chess. Okay, queen here. Here. And now f5 is the best move. Yeah, this pawn attack on my opponent. And now, this is the last chance you have to play king g1. And that stops this because you hang b2, but not with check. I hope that's clear to everybody. Whereas what happened in the game allowed me to go here, and now, yeah, this is actually game over. And, wow. In this position, I could have played bishop back to c8. Attacking the queen, getting out of this check, and taking, and that's just winning. Man, bishop e3. It's actually funny. I was just thinking this was the only move. Attacking this. And then I probably would have seen queen e6, and so I would have went here. This guy should be proud. What more can I say? Person should be proud of that game. That was a very good game. I mean, it's you know, it's what to say? Y'all saw everything of that game. The whole game was absolutely fascinating. I'll go e4 again. Please no Caro. c5, Sicilian. Beautiful. Nice. Let's play b3. The b3 Sicilian. Also in the e4 course. And we're good. That was awesome. That was my opponent's thinking on move 2 already. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. A lot of people like to call cheat. You know, when a person plays a great game. But you saw that game. I was better. I was outplaying my opponent for a while. And I made one mistake, and they punished me for it. So please, you know, there's a difference between being, you know, Dewakipas and being. Did I just say that? Did I just say that? Don't tell anybody I just said that. In the b3 Sicilian, we put our bishop on b2, and we decide where to put this light-scored bishop. I'm putting it on b5, because there I can take the knight. And I will. That's the idea. And then I will put pawns on light squares. And the interesting structure that you get here with this very powerful bishop is that you have a lot of space in the center, But black gets, obviously, the bishop pair. What is going on? I am looking at the Discord right now, and people are going, oh, by the way, join the Discord. There's a link in the description. That's actually how you get into these episodes. I just ask subscribers. I'll be like, hey, guys, I'm going to record. Anybody want to be in the next guess the ELO or, you know, win at chess episode? And whoever's here gets, you know, first come, first serve, 92. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for positions like this. And by putting the pawn on f4, we want to put the, you know, the queen on g3, ultimately. The queen e1, queen g3. And team up the queen and the bishop. I can't draw this. Oh my gosh, I can't draw that. There we go. What? There we go. c4 is an idea. And, you know, in positions of 8 pawns, which we both have, breaking positions up is a big thing. Right? a5, these kinds of things. Where is black going to break in the position? d5, knight to d7. Okay. The idea of this move is to play bishop f6. See, I like this level of play because people are making like very strategic decisions, like backward knight move to trade my powerful bishop. Y'all pay attention. Y'all be paying attention. You know? I gotta pay attention here. This is some good stuff. If you make it an hour into these episodes, you really get the good content. These are very good players. Emulating the way that they play, I think that's the right word. Right? These backward now, but why is my opponent thinking bishop f6? Like why hasn't he played it yet? I guess they're worried about e5. Right? Okay, now they've played it. e5. I do believe in the move e5. I think I should be playing it. And now question is, do I take with the knight and keep my knight kind of out there, or do I take with the pawn? I actually think that because this knight is so passive, I'm going to take with my pawn. That's my logic. This knight is very passive. Now, it will take a few turns to get it back into the game, whereas now this bishop is also very passive. And I can kind of move to my next phase of the game. Maybe I put my rook on d1 and put my knight out here. This knight e4 move is weird because it allows a doubling of the structure, but I'm not so sure it's actually bad. Like knight e4 to try to go knight f6. That actually looks fantastic. I am going to offer my opponent this damage to my structure. Yep. And in a counterbalance, I get the open d file. I close the center. Black is very passive. I just need this pawn out of here. But what does the pawn control? d6, right? Right? And I can put like my rook there. So if bishop takes, pawn takes, I activate the bishop. Let's go rook d1, probably. That was our idea. Now I really want to make this move happen. I'm really sorry, y'all. I'm getting some tunnel vision here. You know, I really want bishop d6, ed6, and then I have the double attack on the queen and the mate. And I also want a double stack here. Also, one more thing that we have. That blunders a pawn. That blunders a pawn, and now the bishop's under attack. And the worst part is that when I take, now we are also maybe trading queens. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, f6 was just a blunder. But it came from the pressure. It came from applying this kind of positional pressure. The pawn blockade in the center of the board, disallowing my opponent's pieces from moving, this mobilization of the queen, and this rook placement. Hopefully y'all learn about this rook placement, right? This rook placement on d6. Oh, did my opponent just blunder a bishop in all this? I guess he just blundered a bishop. Yeah, that happens. It's a very congested position. And actually, the worst part is It's much worse than a bishop, actually. It's just mate. Like, you actually just can't do anything. Yeah, queen takes g7. Wow. Here's the thing. So, the b3 Sicilian, one of the lines I covered in my course, played it more or less the way you're supposed to play it, right? Got to kind of, this opening position. And here, position it's equal. I mean, it's an equal position. I play queen e1, and, this idea. And now, I really want to do kind of the bulk of the analysis. So I play the move e5, and now the important question, is taking with the pawn or the knight better? Machine is thinking about it very briefly. It does believe in f takes e5, which is an interesting strategic decision. Actually, fascinating strategic exercise here. Taking with the pawn or the knight. Yeah, now it's really believing in this. And it's believing in this because you don't trade an active piece for a passive piece, right? Right, so like, this is not what you do here, because you just help black. And I hope that for those of you who made it an hour into this video, this very small detail helps you understand when to trade and when to not trade. Like, you don't want to trade the knight there for white. You just don't want to do it, because your knight is so strong, right? Now this move, I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't think this damaging of my structure is very good. Probably I should have went here. I should have went here, and then, the logic would have been, I can do this now. And then defend. Yeah, that was better. I got a little bit too creative for my own good, saying like, this damaging this. But again, if my opponent was playing a 1700, maybe they would play knight e4, and the guy did the right thing. He traded the bishop pair to damage my pawn structure. But I was like, well, I get the open file. It would have been slightly better for me to move my rook over and then protect so that I don't damage my structure, because damaged pawn structure is very immobile. But then we came up with this idea to put the rook on d6, and that was pretty darn cool. However, opponent could have created counterplay on the queen side, like c4. And the truth is, if they didn't fall for my bait, I'm not getting through. Like, even if I invest fully in this attack, they're coming in on the queen side, which is what the Sicilian is, at the end of the day, all about. It's about this queenside counterplay, c4, a5, b4, with the queen on c7. And that all stemmed from the fact that I killed my flexibility by killing my pawn structure. I immobilized two of my pawns, and I relied a little bit too much on hope chess. Now, in a game, would I play a move 94 like if I was playing a title player? No, never in a million years. Never. Because you need fluidity, right? You cannot kill your pieces. You need fluidity, so I would have probably played rook d1, actually, with the idea to maybe play c4 and then knight e4 or something. But rook e1 is a very logical move. So this is the way post-game analysis works, and then you defend the square before you put the piece there, right? So, and yeah, hopefully that was instructive. And then after that, of course, just a sequence of blunders, unfortunately. All right, and now the final boss of the video, Mr. 1800 Cloud Main, who doesn't play any rapid, 1800 rapid, 1800 blitz. Cloudmane knows every opening that I play. So let's play d5. Let's play the Scandinavian. Knight f6. Knight to f3. Knight d5 and queen d5 are both moves, but I'm going to play bishop to g4. This is kind of in the style of the Portuguese gambit. Okay, the bishop goes to e2. Now, I want to play knight takes d5, and I will. You can also play queen d5. But the position that we had earlier was that position already, so just want to mix it up a little bit. Knight to c6. c4 runs into knight f4. So the reason I didn't play knight f4 right away is because, I can get the bishop, but the truth is, it's not like some, life-changing accomplishment. I did not take because I don't want to activate my opponent's piece. Now e6. c4 is a good move here. Kicks my knight out of the middle, but then I will go here, and my knights will pressure the pawns, which is kind of the other idea of rotating the knight around. It's a very imbalanced and complicated position. I can also maybe take and then move back, but I think I'm just going to go back. And so what do we want? Well, we have to decide. Are we castling short or are we castling long, right? One's a bigger risk than the other. Right now, the threat is probably to take on f3 and then take on d4, but then I lose my b7 pawn. We have to not forget that when the bishop gets to f3, right, That's a problem. So, right. Well, tough question now for the opponent. Maybe bishop e3. d5, we just take. That might be a blunder. Maybe not, though. My opponent wants bishop b2, which is understandable. Just understandable. I'm thinking queen f6 and long castle somehow. So bishop f3, knight takes d4, bishop takes b7, rook to b8, and then the bishop maybe goes to e4. I think I like it. I actually think I like it. I'm gonna take on f3. Take on d4. Queen, so by the way, if you guys are wondering, queen d4 is guarded, but queen d4 runs into, oh my gosh, queen d4 runs into bishop takes c6, check, kicking out the defense of my queen, which is why I haven't even talked about queen d4. I know sometimes I only focus on one move, and you guys go, well, why not this other move? Because I've already made that kind of mental throwaway, right? So, thrown it out already. Now bishop f3 or bishop e4 only moves. You can go bishop f3 and just trade. Just trade. But I kind of like my knight. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't have a bishop anymore, light squared bishop, but I really like my knight on d4. I really like it. It's so strong. It's an outpost square, a square on your opponent's side of the board that you kind of dominate. I dominate that square, frankly, and I can defend that knight with my bishop. I can defend it with my pawn. I want to guard it with my pawn, but I also want to play bishop e7 and then bishop to f6. So I really want to do this as well. Bishop f6 will threaten knight takes f3 check, and bishop takes b2. So I'm going to play that, c5. So this is my threat now. I think king h1's a reasonable move, maybe, to get out of this being a check, although that doesn't actually stop my threat. So maybe knight c3, just developing. Knight c3 looks pretty smart. Then I have a decision to make. How to deal with c5, for example. Let's just castle, get the king out of the center of the board. It's a very complicated position. Oh, wait, was there knight takes c4? Oh my gosh, did I just miss a tactic? I just was so focused on castling. Knight c4, bc4, rook b2. Ay, ay, ay. I just saw that, and see, my opponent plays rook b1 to protect themselves against that. I don't know. I don't know, maybe. Well, they also might just be trying to play like knight here, which is smart. Okay. I can go for a little pawn play action. I can also play a move like g6 to slide my bishop back to g7 to get out of the way of the knight. In fact, I really like that, actually. I really like the prospect. And again, because we're playing someone so strong, I would go for a plan like this. This is a very strategic game. This is not a tactical affair. And I haven't played the move c5 because even though optically it looks nice, it's just a target, to be honest. Like, if I play c5, it just becomes a target. And I really don't like that. So I'm keeping my pawn back on c7. Now I do believe the threats exist. So, for example, take, knight c4, attacking the rook. And if bc4, I have the pin on the b file. There's a lot of tension here, a lot of tension in this position. And I put my bishop on g7 to be out of the scope of the pieces. So I have that now. I have that combination. I can take here. I can take here, I can take on b2, I can take on c4. And I will be a pawn up. But now is the hardest part of chess. I have to evaluate that position, and I have to say, is that good or bad for me? And I'm not going to lie. I can play take. I can play take, knight c4, and the rook will just move, like, to e2. I'm not sure that I'm truly better there. I really weaken my king if I give away my dark square bishop. I just am not sure. And like f5, knight c5. Queen d6. Man. I do like the move f5. I will say I really do like it. I do like this move. I like this move. I think I like this move. But I could be blundering something. In fact, I think Oh, I just saw something really wild. So knight c5, queen d6, bishop takes d4, removing the defender of my e6 pawn. I take back, and then they play knight takes e6. If I take, they take this. And he might see that and might go for it. This, 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 this. That thought process is right, except I have bishop takes f2 check, winning the queen. So for example, take, knight e6, check. And your knight no longer guards your queen, which is pretty wild. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that since my opponent is pausing, they realize that it's not working. Now this is under attack. And I did see knight b7, but it just looked so dumb. That move just looks stupid. Like, I think I can even go here. It just doesn't, I mean, it just doesn't look like a smart move. I mean, I can't take, oh no. If it's a good move, I'm going to be so upset. So knight f3 check, queen f3 is still guarding it. I mean, I can sack. And then, like, try to trap the bishop. I mean, probably queen f4 is just the best move. It's funny because Cloudmain's going to watch this afterward and be like, I can't believe he called my move a dumb move. It's just a dumb looking move. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a blunder after the game is over. Yeah, I'm not, you know. And I think this is important because I think I need to take. I'm threatening now to take and just win the knight. I'm also threatening to take and damage the structure. So, but also if knight c5, I mean, I can even go here. I think. Like bishop d4. We're obviously not going to repeat the position. Knight takes f3. Yeah, let's take on f3. It's obviously the best move. We need to damage the pawn structure. Actually, it might have not been the best move. Like, the computer will probably find something else. Bishop takes bishop is always going to be good. This is the problem in this position, is that my e6 pawn is very weak. I have some simple ways to deal with that by playing moves like rook e8, but then my bishop will be taken. So, in all likelihood, I should take on b2 first. Oh, wait, isn't there just a fork after? Don't I just have queen e5? That's just a fork. That's just straight up a fork, y'all. Oh. And if knight e6, my queen's hanging. But I can play like queen e5, for example, and guard the bishop. And then when knight here, I just take. So I'm going to get a bishop and a knight for my troubles, I think. But yeah, knight e6 has got to be played now. I can't offer a queen trade because pieces go backwards, yeah? Okay, I definitely do think queen e5 is the best move. Knight f8, my arm. Big question, do I take back or do I make another move? You say, what? What do you mean make another move, Gotham? Are you stupid? You have no other moves. I do. I can play like bishop to d4 because the knight is stuck. But, of course, I am thinking to just take, I mean, I don't, like, the bishop's getting out. The bishop will come here, for sure. And then if I can play c5, I think my opponent should go c5, by the way. I wonder if my opponent sees that. c5 is a really nice move. If I take, I lose my bishop. If I play knight d5, they take my bishop. Because if I take, I lose my knight. So c5, knight d5 is just a blunder, a terrible mistake. So I would have to go knight back, which is ugly, but necessary. But, oh man, this is a whole nother level to this win at chess stuff. These later games, huh? You guys are happy you watched this far, right? I gotta go knight c8. My opponent's 2 minutes down, which is important, but if I lose a piece, I'm dead. If I lose a piece now, it's over. So, okay, look for checks, Check, king to the corner. Okay, check here, rook attacks, check. And then my bishop comes back, and we win. Because once my bishop escapes, bishop and knight versus a rook is almost always better for bishop and knight. Like, not even close. But with queen and 2 rooks, it's different. I mean, it's the heavy artillery, right? It's the heavy artillery, so I do need to be careful. But I am trying to stay consistently pressuring my opponent on time as well. Okay, queen d7 threatens, I have no idea what. What does it threaten? I guess my knight is, like, sort of paralyzed. Rook e8? Ah, rook e8, interesting. So probably bishop e5 is necessary. I should probably disconnect my opponent's position here a little bit. Bishop e5, rook takes, there's nothing there. Yeah, bishop e5. Maybe opponent will go f4. Actually, what if they do go f4? Bishop takes, rook e8. Jeez, a little bit too close for comfort. I can give a check, and king f1. First of all, I can kick the queen out. In fact, I think I'm just gonna do that. Yeah. Yeah. Bye. Go. Bye. No one will miss you. Go away. Get out. And now I think I'm happy. Once the queen has been kicked out, I think I'm happy. Ow, my arm really hurts. Wow. Wow. The Discord is talking about cats. Beautiful stuff. It's a stressful round today. It's good. I knew when I selected these opponents we were going to have very good games. I'm very happy this is how it turned out. I know you all enjoy the content, so... Now is just kind of the next phase. Like, I just need to... I need to consolidate here. In the best way. Check. King f1. Queen h... Still nowhere near over, though, which is hilarious. Oh, I wish it was. Pawn c6. That attacks the queen. Kicks the queen out again. Oh, nope. It allows it to enter. That wasn't very smart of me. Actually, that wasn't smart at all, because this is about to happen. Oh, gosh. Okay. I've had better days of chess, probably. Some rook e8 move. Let's give a check. I have an idea. Here's my idea, y'all. My idea is that if the king goes here, I just go here and we win. So, king f1 is probably forced. And then I'm going to go here anyway. And we're going to try to hit him with the big sneakies. Something like that. I think king f1 is forced here. Oh, but then bishop h2. Wait, what is wrong with you? You imbecile. Just bishop h2 is forced mate. Wow, it's been a long episode, y'all. I'm sorry. It's amazing that moves like that just pop up. Like, I want to go queen g1. Stupid. So, like, why wouldn't you... Oh, yeah, and then it's over. That's just bishop h2. Well, it's actually not quite over because, like, opponent can still make some moves. But let's go bishop h2. Now, there's no checks for my opponent. Here, queen b1 should be game over. No checks again. Yeah. Check, take. GG. Because now we're also very close to mating ourselves. There's no checks for the opponent. Even though the pieces are very confidently standing around. That was a brutally tough game. Wow. That was hard. That was hard. These are serious chess players. And now it's mate in 2. Check and mate. Good game. Very decent game. I wouldn't be surprised if my opponent played like 90% accurately. So, the opening was very tough. Very close. I made a big decision to transform the structure. Bishop e7, bishop to f6, and yeah, okay, looks like I could have just done this immediately. Crazy. Ay. Just totally didn't even, like, I castled and was like, wait a minute. And, oh my gosh. Yeah, rook b1 was a bit passive, actually. It turns out my opponent could play a bit more aggressively here, but, I mean, rook b1 was decent. I think g6 was slow. Yeah, see, you know, it's funny. I was saying, you know, c5 I didn't like because it becomes a target. And the computer's like c5 is one of the best moves. My plan here was maybe a little bit... No, it likes it. Okay, and now... Yeah, and so now the best move for black is to play the move f5. I'm very happy I found this move. And again, between moving your pawns, moving your knights and bishops, you know, f5 is a very important move because it kind of really challenges white's coordination. Like, the coordination of all of these pieces is suddenly kind of put to the test because you have nowhere convenient to put the knight. If you put it to d2, it loses. I take... You're going to lose one of those two pieces. So... If you go to g3, I mean, it's just very passive, and I will play c5, e5, e4. So I will mow you down in the center of the board. I'll play like c5, e5, right? And now your knight is paralyzed. You stop the one move threat, but you paralyze your knight for the rest of the game, which is very bad. So knight c5 was the best move. And knight b7 was the best move. Knight a6 or knight b7. Crazy. And I played normal. Wow, and see now if my opponent had taken, it's crazy because in my head I looked at this position and I thought that I was doing well. Oh my god. Well, of course I missed the whole point of knight b7. I thought I was fine here, but there's just this move. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's crazy. That's why you have to analyze with machine, but you also have to say, you know, some things are just not humanly practical. I mean, I didn't even see this. That's crazy. Wild stuff. Wow. So knight c5 was the move played in the game. Oh my god. Oh my god, wait, I just missed the win. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait, what? I could have just went here. That's just winning. It's the second time in this video I have this tactic. Because g3 I just take. Oh my god. Oh, we gotta cut the tape. This is ridiculous. How did I miss this twice in one video? Oh my god. No, yeah, I did miss it in that game. Oh, what? How did I not see this? It threatens mate. I'm actually pretty frustrated at myself. Okay. And then after that, what was going on? So it turns out that queen f6 was bad and I should go for the queen trade. Because apparently my opponent was winning somewhere here. So if my opponent anticipated my move rook to d8 and in this position played rook d1, they would have stopped rook d8. And apparently black's position is lost. Because I can't move. My knight is dominated. Which goes all the way back to this position with this move c5, the only move. Yeah, there's wow. This is a very high level game. Activating the queen down to the back rank, threatening rook e8, rook here, rook d1. Wow, my opponent actually had rook d1. And now, very important, I kick the queen out. Very important, all this stuff. I now check and bishop h2, and I take my chance. Wow, what to say, y'all. Thank you for watching another episode of How to Win at Chess. As always, appreciate the support. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times in the video, but I do have courses on openings and a beginner bootcamp for people rated below 1,000. Link is in the description. Although after watching me miss queen and bishop batteries for an hour, maybe you don't want to support me with that stuff. But yeah, leave a nice comment. Feel free to respond to somebody in the, in the other comments as well, and I will see you in the next video.